The woman whose work was stolen. Rosalind Franklin and the secret of DNA in the early 1950s. Scientists around the world were racing to answer one of the greatest mysteries of life. What is DNA actually shaped like? How does it store the code of life? Whoever solved it would change biology forever. Most people think the answer came from Watson and Crick. But the real key belonged to a woman few people knew at the time, Rosalind Franklin. A brilliant mind in a closed world, Rosalind Franklin was a chemist and X-ray crystallographer, an expert at using X-rays to see the structure of molecules. She was precise, disciplined, and unusually gifted. But as a woman in male-dominated science in the 1950s, she constantly had to fight to be taken seriously. She began working at King's College London, studying DNA fibers. Using a special technique called X-ray diffraction, she slowly created the clearest image of DNA ever taken. It was called Photo 51, the photograph that changed the world photo. 51 was blurry to an untrained eye, but to a scientist who knew what to look for, it was explosive. It revealed that DNA had a helical structure. Without Franklin's permission or knowledge, another scientist showed her photograph to James Watson. When Watson saw it, he instantly realized what it meant. He and Francis Crick rushed back to their lab at Cambridge and built the famous double-helix model of DNA. They published it in Nature in 1953. Rosalind Franklin's name barely mentioned. The cruel twist of fate. Franklin left King's College and moved on to new research in virology. She made huge advances in understanding viruses, including the structure of the tobacco mosaic virus. But in 1958, at only 37 years old, she died of ovarian cancer, likely caused by years of unprotected exposure to X-rays in the lab. 4 years later, in 1962, Watson, Crick, and Wilkins received the Nobel Prize for discovering the structure of DNA. Franklin was not eligible. The Nobel Prize is never awarded posthumously. For years, her role was almost erased from the story. Recognition at last. Decades later, scientists and historians began telling the full truth. Without Photo 51, Watson and Crick would not have solved DNA when they did. Today, Rosalind Franklin is celebrated as a pioneer of molecular biology, a symbol of women. Invisibilized in science, a critical figure and one of the greatest discoveries ever made, universities, laboratories, and research institutes now bear her name. Her image appears in textbooks not as a footnote, but as a central figure in the understanding of life itself. Why this story matters. Every medical breakthrough connected to genetics, cancer research, gene therapy, ancestry mapping, forensic DNA testing exists partly because of her work. Rosalind Franklin never sought fame. She sought truth. Even though truth came too late for her, it reshaped the world.